Hello and welcome to the Women Wise podcast. I am Janine Lingenfelder.
And I'm Sara Haboubi, and we are so excited to have you here with us today.
This is your space to feel inspired, uplifted, and deeply connected. Whether you're building a business, finding your voice, or stepping into your next chapter, you belong here.
And a big shout out to our incredible sponsor, Armin Jamula, founder of ITSHERWAY, UAE's #1 female entrepreneurship hub. ITSHERWAY has become a thriving platform that supports women in all stages of their business journeys. From providing a marketplace to marketing support and funding resources, they're here to offer the tools and opportunities necessary for success.
And your vision and commitment to women in business is life-changing, and we're so proud to be part of ITSHERWAY community.
And we're also recording in the beautiful Procast studio at Saroud, Dubai. If you're ever looking for a space that feels professional and powerful, this is it.
Every episode is about sharing stories, lessons, and real conversations that remind us we're not alone, we're in this together. So get comfy, stay open, and let's dive in, because when women rise together, there's no limit to what's possible. A very warm welcome to you, Armin Jamula. Thank you so much for being here at Women Wise Podcast. We're excited to have you.
Me too. I'm excited. Really excited. Congratulations for this, ladies.
Well, thanks to you, because ITSHERWAY are the amazing sponsors for the next few podcasts. So thank you very much for that. We really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. We do what we can do.
Well, on that note, tell us a bit about ITSHERWAY and your journey to get to where you are today with it.
So ITSHERWAY is about 8 years old now. And for the past 8 years, we've been doing some amazing stuff when it comes to helping women in financial independence, helping women get their businesses out the door and out there, and many other things in that journey. So over the years, we've created a sort of a framework where we support them in 5 key pillars. The first pillar starts with commerce, then goes with community, collaborations, careers, and capital. So these are kind of the 5 pillars of support that we give female entrepreneurs, women who want to go back to jobs, and many other things in the realm of female independence, financial independence. So that's what we've been doing. Over the past 8 years, we've had over nearly 7,000 members now.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Touching so many lives. Must be an amazing feeling for you.
It is. It's very fulfilling. And I say to my friends say to me that, Armin, if you were in a normal corporate job, you'd probably be CMO of a multinational today. And you found your passion project very soon on in your life. I said, that's fine. I've been making so much impact and I just want to continue with that. And I'm doing other things on the side. So yeah, I love doing what I do. And I'm very fortunate to have realized my life's purpose very early on in my life.
Amazing.
It's
amazing.
Absolutely amazing. So you've doing this for 8 years. Can you tell us, prior to getting to ITSHERWAY, your journey?
So prior to that, I was a very successful, very well-known media professional in my in Dubai. I've managed loads and loads of regional, global brands. And I was with one of the top 5 media agencies. So I've led quite a few amazing brands, and that's the legacy that I really am proud of. And a lot of the learnings from, working with global teams, local teams, trying to localize global content, and just working in that environment has given me a lot to embody and implement in my startup and all the other startups that we help build.
So what was the turning point for you then that made you want to leave that very successful corporate world and start up?
I think ITSHERWAY was not the turning point. It was the second turning point. The first turning point actually was I was helping one of my father's business friends at that point, or colleagues at that point, in building their new venture and the marketing plans for that venture. And they were, a very well-known local Emirati family business, and they were going into another sector. So they loved my ideas and they loved what I had to share with them. So they literally offered me a business partnership at that point. And they said, listen, we don't want to deal with any other marketing agency. We want you to lead our marketing firm, which we are launching with you. And come on board, you become our partner. And I took that project up. I worked in it for about 2.5 years. And then It's Her Way dawned on me. And then it is what it is.
But why did it dawn on you? I mean, you were already, very successful. So what was that sort of light bulb moment that you had then?
So it was a light bulb moment because being in a very global organization before this transition in my career was very empowering. It was very, very enabling as well. And I'm really glad that my beginning, the first decade of my career was very, very nice for me, very good experience, good learning and everything. When I transitioned into that space and I transitioned into, let's say, small to medium enterprise sector in the Middle East, in the region, I realized that there was not so much social liberty and many other liberties for women, which we had in the global space where I was, at least. And it affected me. It started affecting me.
Right.
It started affecting me emotionally, physically, mentally. One of the things that happened was I had 2 miscarriages back to back during that 2-year period. And that kind of made me stop and think. And my husband and I decided that I don't need to do what I'm doing there with the environment that it's giving me. And just the overall experience was not really for me. And at that point, it dawned on me that I want to do something that I want to help other women. Because at that point, I was the only one standing strong. At that point, I had a team of about 12 of us, and 8 of us were women. So majority women team that I built. And a lot of them and us and me faced quite a few issues when it comes to environment, when it comes to when to speak, how to speak. So
relatability was a big thing in that specific space.
I would say relatability, yes, but it was more about just a drastic change, a contrast rather from the previous environment to this one, and then taking on a leadership role and making sure my company's environment stays intact, whereas the other associated companies that we were supporting was very unfortunate at that point. So the contrast obviously was it was an uphill task to kind of even communicate with the leadership there. And culturally I was a 20-something girl then, right? And I was a mom. I was a mom with a boy at that point. And I am very colorful, very bold, very bright. I would wear a yellow suit and pink shoes and go to work and still do what I do, right? But then that yellow suit and pink shoes gave a perception of somebody else for the leadership back then.
Wow, it's so interesting.
Very interesting.
And at that point, it was like I had to be a certain way to be taken seriously. I didn't like that. And a lot of other things came with it, to say the least.
Yes.
And that toxicity just affected me.
It's a big word.
I think it's a story that so many women can relate to. And it's worldwide. It's not just here. I think if you've been in the work environment at all as a woman, you've probably come across that attitude of you have to look a certain way, you have to dress a certain way in order to be taken seriously.
Do you know what? I did not feel that in the beginning of my career.
Because the global company gave you that freedom.
I did not feel that at all. My bosses, everybody. I learned a lot. And I would have to say that is a company that is also a regional company here, right? And there is a large amount of different nationalities that reside in this region.
So do you think there was more tolerance, for diversity? I mean, I think the word diversity has been overused, but I think it's important to recognize that there are differences.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a really, really interesting story. And as I said, I think would touch a lot of people. But I think the thing that really stands out, and this is your current campaign, is about your miscarriages. And would you like to tell us about the leave of absence campaign?
Sure. It's obviously very close to my heart because it actually was at that point, the beginning, the shift that I made from leading a marketing agency into leading my own venture, which is a social enterprise. It started off with that, that back-to-back element. It started off with those experiences that were just a collective space. So that one of the incidents which I have talked about very publicly this time, it's been like 10 years now since my miscarriage. But 10 years ago, when I actually found out that I did miscarry my child, the first time, it was during a lunch break that I had just gone for a regular checkup. And I came back, just got back to work. I didn't realize that I needed to take that break, because even the doctor at that point, she sat across the table from my husband and I, and she didn't look me in the eye. She just said, it's a biochemical loss of pregnancy. And it took us 5 minutes to realize what that meant even.
My goodness, that is a big thing to...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was like, okay, what does that mean? What do I do? What next?
So clinical and cold. I mean, I know they have to be professional, but I mean, I think compassion is
needs to be
definitely
shown.
missing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the doctor to blame only, but it's just how that doctor also deals with, and she's very well known, and she's really good at what she does. With my second daughter, I went back to her, but the idea is that in this part of the world, sometimes you're just so used to saying some things in a certain way and not saying some things in a certain way. And you're just used to it. You don't feel that, no, there needs to be a little more layer of empathy there or here. Just because you need to say this in a way so that it's a generally accepted
a difficult thing
norm.
to do.
Yeah. So for me, it didn't really hit me at that point that I need to take a break, or I need to take a pause. I need to go back home. I need to kind of just settle in and, settle into the emotions as well and see what I need to do. I went back to work that afternoon. My husband went back to work that afternoon.
Wow.
And then the second one was a little more, it just happened and it was okay. Yeah. Okay. It's happened again. We know what the term means and we know whatever else means now. And yeah, we've got to do what we got to do. But the first one was kind of very, very, okay, what do I do now? It didn't really affect me, or I didn't put the pieces together in my mind as well to understand that it did have an impact on me when I actually got pregnant and with my daughter a few months later. It was such a fearful pregnancy. It was a pregnancy embodying fear and everything else.
Of course.
Yeah.
And with those vibes, with those, those feelings and emotions, I did get hospitalized for a week.
Wow.
During that pregnancy. And it was
From the
unfortunate. Yeah. It just came on, a lot of things came on. No, it was a stress. It was an infectious sort of malaria sort of thing at that point. So that did take a toll, but it could have been treated at home, but I was just too stressed. Yeah, I had quite a few episodes of a lot of things through that pregnancy.
So did it make you, looking back on it now, can you see then the link between the miscarriages and then your actual physical health?
Of course.
Of course.
I was such a happier mom in my first pregnancy. I was so much more calm. I was so much more, okay, I've got this. And as expats, we're here alone. We don't have our mums. We don't have our grandmothers. We don't have our close family who usually is there.
Specifically in that time of your life where you really need them.
Yeah. And they come, they travel, they visit. But they're not with you, at your beck and call. And that support, you do need it, especially in these times. But when you don't have it, what if it's not possible for your parents to come down, right? If you don't have it, at least you need that time. And that's what leave of absence is about. It's about enabling women to grieve at any given point in their pregnancy, be it the first trimester, second or third, letting them have that 1 week. I mean, if we have to talk about the technicalities of it, just the period is different, right, for us?
Yes.
When you're going through that phase, which is a miscarriage, and when you're having a regular period, it's totally different.
Yes.
Even for your body.
So what was the point? Because obviously that's a while ago. So why now? Why are you running the campaign now? What happened that made you decide this was important?
So this campaign has been in the making, or in the thoughts and hopes and dreams for a while. But it didn't come to life because I didn't have the support, or I wouldn't say I didn't have the support, but we just weren't very convinced that this is the right time to do it. Okay. There are certain things that they just happen when it's supposed to happen. I think it's one of those that it was meant to happen now and not 8 years ago or, any other time. I don't really think that there's a specific reason for why I've done it now.
It's been gestating.
It has, yes, that's the right
now
word.
It's time to bring it into the world. And in terms of this region, what are the current situation for women is that this is not seen as something that they need, this leave of absence, or is it down to the employee? Like, what are you hoping to get from the campaign?
So what we're hoping to get from the campaign is specifically trying to have some sort of official leave in the legislation. Mm-hmm. And when we say legislation, just if there's a law or a bylaw that could be passed for HR policy for that, because the current HR policy has become more flexible than what it was a decade or so ago in the UAE. But what we could do, that there could be layers of where we have more flexibility as women and men. Leave of absence is just not for women, it's also for the fathers. I mean, they need to be supporting the women as well as they need to grieve themselves. I'm sure they've had hopes and dreams tied up, behind this little bundle of joy that we all want to, welcome in the world happily.
Yes. And I love the space that you're creating because it complements beautifully with It's Her Way as well, where you're building this community of people, where allowing them to really share their feelings and feeling comfortable to identify that they need this leave of absence. They have the space to actually get it done, and they have the community to share their feelings and not feel isolated, because we all feel isolated in our own way. Coming from different parts of the world, and having something like this in your new part of the world is really beautiful. So congratulations on this, and we're really excited to see what it's going to be opening up for you and where it's going.
Thank you. I really hope that this does, set tone for our next generation to be more open about talking about these things, being more tolerant in so many ways as well. And at the end of the day, it's not only about women and their empowerment. It's just about understanding that there is a more human side to corporate culture, which should be embodied for mental health, for physical health, for emotional health, and everything else.
So I've been thinking recently about the way that Dubai has evolved over the last, especially the last 5 years, I would say, in particular. And women, previously would have only been here under certain capacities. So the wife, because the husband has a job here, maybe an air hostess, maybe a teacher, maybe a nurse.
Yeah.
But so many women are now here in their own right, and powering their own lives and their financial setting. What do you think is the impact then of having women here in their own right on the whole culture and society of Dubai?
I think Dubai is doing a fabulous job, a fantastic job in bringing cultures together and bringing society together and giving women an equal playing field. I think if you actually are anywhere in the world, you want to start a business and you want it to be international, Dubai is where you need to be. And Dubai is being very, very open about it. So I think they are setting tone even for the West in so many ways. Which is why when I thought of, having this legislation or, pledging, creating the pledges, I did not think of any other country to do it, even my home country. It is, if it has to happen here, it's going to happen here, and then it's going to be inspirational for every other country to follow in line. But other countries, the legal structure or even the laws, the leadership, they're not very open to having these conversations while they are. And really, kudos to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it is a topic. You touched on, mindset and health. And when a woman is going through that loss, it's a big mindset and mind shift. Mm-hmm. And if HR and the companies can support that, what a better world.
Absolutely. And I think another part of the openness for business in Dubai is that, and again, this has just been the last few days, this is really kind of, because I'm in the car driving a lot at the moment, and you can see the traffic in some areas and not in others, etc. But it is a feeling of, there's more permanency, I think, when people are here now. I think it was such a transitory place before. I feel like people are really making Dubai their actual home, even if they're not from Dubai, from the UAE. I really feel like, so I think as a result of that, people don't just leave when there's a
job
loss or a trauma or something, or, a difficulty with a child and learning, that they are looking to stay, and therefore there is a demand, on the society and the culture here to really embrace that and actually kind of grow and evolve as a result of that. And I think It's Her Way is really kind of leading the way, with that. Would you
100% complimenting every step.
Yeah. No, I'm glad I was one of the first. It's Her Way, and myself and my co-founders were one of the first women, platforms to have been created back in 2017. And today we see so many other women platforms. I think all of us are doing a great job. All of the other individual communities, female platforms, and just everything. It's opening up so beautifully for everybody else in the region to take on. While there is volatility in this region, in some parts of it, there is still positivity. And I think Dubai government and UAE government, the leadership is doing a fab job to keep the neutrality of everything.
Yeah, it's one of the most peaceful places on earth. I mean, it's very safe, and it does, I think, in that allows for flourishing.
And on leave of absence, the fabulous aspect of it was that there were men who are leading companies who just said yes right away with just a phone call.
I love that.
So just a phone call, and we're almost there. We want to have 100 pledges by the end of a certain period, and we're already at 70, 78 as we speak.
So what do companies need to do to pledge? If any companies watching this, or
you just go on to leaveofabsence.com. There's a website, there's a form you fill in, and a pledge you download and sign and send it over back to us. That's it.
So we're talking about 2-3 minutes maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
that.
to make an impact.
Just that.
So I was at one of your events yesterday, and I think there was a very interesting question, which was, or maybe it was a statement that one of your speakers made, and it was about this idea of, well, women want equality, so, surely if you're going to be in the workplace, you just need to basically, like suck it up, there's this kind of, how do you get that balance between speaking to HR managers or CEOs and explaining the benefit of having this, rather than seeing it as a detriment, that, we're going to lose that woman's, there's going to be downtime and there's going to be productivity lost, etc. What's the main kind of argument in terms of why this is a benefit?
So there are two sides of this. One is if you're hiring more women, there's already so much data around the world today on the effectiveness of women in leadership roles, on the effectiveness of women in certain jobs, just because of the nature of how women are created, right? Apart from that, when you're looking at roles, responsibilities, and just the day-to-day team structure of any organization, which role fits the best for a woman and, it doesn't. Yes, we want to say that no, every role is doable for everybody, but there are certain characteristics of a role that a woman would tend to do better. Taking from that, if an HR has to say, I need to have or give that woman a space for her to perform her best role, perform for the better of the organization, I will need to give her these kind of flexibility elements. That's where it starts from. That's the first part. That's where you say, if I'm looking to hire a woman in this role, I know that I'm going to get these positives out of it. And I know that I'll have to have this flexibility given to her so that she's in the right mindset and the right physical ability to perform. So that kind of makes sense for both, right?
Yes.
And then characteristically, you can hire or you can nurture the employee. We all know as entrepreneurs as well that hiring a new employee for a job, even during the maternity leave phase, right? Which is very short here actually, but generally it is about 3 to 6 months or more in certain countries. And at that time, when someone is filling in the role, it literally takes them half that time to only just understand that role, right?
Yes.
And then fill it in. So while you have some sort of policies to replace people or fill in those jobs, you already know the challenges that you'll face as an HR manager. Why not make it more flexible for just retaining that employee for simple reasons? I mean, if I go back to my story, and believe me, I've heard so many more stories after I came out with mine. They've had similar, situations. And even when the head of HR was a lady, she was not empathetic towards the situation. Right?
And that's what's going through my mind now as you were talking. It's like it all depends on the person who's receiving this information. How are they going to handle it?
So it's actually very interesting. There is nobody who has said, I don't know if I'm going to be backing you on this. Everybody I've spoken to has said, yes, makes sense. It is now or never. Or let's say it's not now or never, but it is now or when else. So it's a very positive sentiment. I think that's why I wasn't ready as well to talk about it, or, we weren't ready as a team, as an organization to promote this as much as we are now.
I think there's so many issues that previously were taboo that are now being spoken about. And it seems that there is a sort of a boiling over, from all of these things that women have had to deal with quietly on their own, in secret, ashamed of it, sometimes, being blamed for things, and what do you think has created that sort of bubbling up and boiling out?
I think I've been in Dubai or lived in UAE for pretty much half my adult life, like not half my adult life, my entire adult life. I was 18 when I moved here. So I have seen the country evolve, the societal structure and fabric evolve as well. And what's interesting to see is that they have strategically planned prioritization of these things as well. So they would probably know that there's a bag of things that we need to work on. There's not a bag, but like a huge sack of things, challenges that one needs to work on. But how do we prioritize certain things that will then cascade and snowball the rest of them? So I think now we're in the phase of that snowball, if you know what I mean.
It feels like it.
It does.
Feels like it. When you're hearing these topics pop up and suddenly, and I think it takes one person to have the bravery, the courage to speak up, speak out. And, as a result of you being so candid about your own experiences, what has been the biggest surprise for you then?
Do you know what? I think I have been one of the people who has been very open about her personal challenges and experiences. And I say that, in certain forums today as well, that I have always been someone who's talked about her challenges very openly, because and I've realized that when I've spoken about them, there's been some or the other level of relatability from the opposite person, and there has been a story that they'd like to share. That has become a very pivotal point of conversation and communication for me. And it's important for someone to notice that, yes, this person has gone through the same thing as me, or something similar to me. I can relate to them, I can be candid with them, and I can communicate with them. And that kind of changes the narrative entirely. If I'm guarded and I'm representing a community of so many thousand women, I am fooling myself in the first place to think that I'm the only one who's gone through something like that.
And I don't think you would have had the 7,000 women had you been that kind of person.
Agree.
Yeah. I think, authenticity and honesty and, transparency.
All I see is yellow suit, pink shoes.
shoes. I know.
Armin taking over the world and just changing one human at a time. And that to me is what ITSHERWAY is all about in terms of where you're at, what you're doing, and the impact you're making. And building that trust with the UAE community is it's beautiful to see.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And I mean, from the moment I met you, I was like, this is a force to be reckoned with. This woman is a powerhouse, and it's such an honor to have you here on our podcast, for you to have graciously, sponsored us for the this season. I mean, no, it's really, we really, really appreciate it, because this was our next step, and for you to have enabled us to do that, we will be very eternally grateful, I believe. And
yes,
it's been a very emotional day for us to start our journey, with ITSHERWAY and your amazing campaign. So if you have one piece of advice that you would give our audience, what do you think is the most important thing for them to take away from this?
One piece of advice about, in the context of leave of absence would be this space that, we are creating as women, all of us here, and we're all for it, right? The space that we're creating for us women, it's not a space for us to just be comfortable in, but think about it as your children, your own daughters, your own sons, their wives. What are they going to go through? If we create something now, it is going to take time to roll it out across. But if we change the narrative today, we're going to leave a much, much, much better tomorrow and a happier tomorrow for everyone. That's what I want to say.
Be the change.
I don't think we can finish on a better note.
Definitely not. Armin, wonderful having you. Thanks once again for being part of our Woman Wise podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thanks.